Good evening, good morning, good night. Wherever you may be in this great world of ours, many time zones, and the housing market does not discriminate against time. Welcome to another special edition of Trends in the Housing Market. It is I, Mike Martins. Trending really late tonight, actually. Haven't been feeling well. And my wife was really sick today, so I had to take her to the hospital. And it's been a really long day. So there's a huge lung sickness going around. And huge lung sickness going around. And it's not good. It's not good. A lot of people are sick. A lot of people are confined to beds. But anyways, it doesn't stop me. I'm starting a late night show tonight, Trends in the Housing Market. Today is March 29th, 2018 for most of you. And anyone that's on the Pacific side, it is still Wednesday night. For the rest of the world, it is Thursday. So everybody's commenting in the comment section. The comments are rolling, guys. No open lines. No open lines tonight because we're going to reserve open lines for next week. It's going to be straight up open lines. And sorry, I got a piece of lemon seed in my mouth there. And there's lots going on in the housing market. The United States, Oregon State, you have no idea what's going on down there right now. I keep talking about the same bullcrap thing over and over and over and over again. I keep telling everybody right here from the Vancouver all the way down to San Diego is a buyout fest. And I've been talking about the same things over and over again. I've been watching the patterns and the trends. There's a huge mass exodus right now from California. Someone's commenting and saying, what's open lines? Oh, usually I have a phone where people call in, a number on the screen there where people call in and talk about housing and the housing situation in their area of the English-speaking world. I get people call in from Australia, New Zealand, the UK, parts of Canada, and the United States. But next week we will have open lines. I promise we'll have open lines next week. But this is the Great American Buyout. This is huge. People have no idea how big it is. And Walking Journeys in the comment section, and he left California himself too a few years back to move to Texas. So let's get on with these articles, and I'm going to show you guys how this great American West Coast buyout is going to happen. And it's been happening, and it's been in the works. Let's start here. Now, Quebec, for a lot of people that don't know, Quebec is northeast Canada, and it's French-speaking. They're very heavy on people not speaking anything but French there. They got French police there. That's language police. But what's been happening? Foreign buyers are starting to drive up home prices in Quebec. So they're starting to see that there's no future in Toronto anymore, so they're moving north. While foreigners still account for a tiny sliver of the market relative to Vancouver and Toronto, Quebec notes an increase in Chinese nationals buying in the province. So watch out, Quebec. Quebec recently began tracking and releasing data on the country of residence of home buyers following a decision by the Ontario and British Columbia to impose taxes on foreign buyers. Foreign buyers of real estate in Quebec are putting marginal pressure on prices while still accounting for a tiny sliver of the market relative to Vancouver and Toronto, according to new data released by French-speaking province. Non-Canadian residents generated 1,307 property transactions in Quebec last year, representing 1% of all deals. Finance Minister documents show that that's little change from 2008, when they made up 0.8% of the total. Foreigners mostly purchase high-end properties averaging $559,000 apiece. the finance minister said on Tuesday. U.S.-based buyers made up the biggest share of foreign acquirers with 32% of all transactions. French buyers were next with 20%, followed by Chinese nationals at 16%. That's a marked contrast from 2006, when Chinese residents accounted for 1.3% of foreign home transactions in Quebec. So, Quebec recently began tracking and releasing data on the country of residents of home buyers following the decision, blah, blah, blah. Then they go, I just read that, I don't know why they rewrote that. And it says, when we look at the average price in Montreal area compared to other places in Canada, they are still relatively affordable. Yes, they are. In Quebec, the average house is still like $300,000, $275,000 for a decent home in a decent area close to jobs. Quebec Finance Minister Carlos Ledet said on Tuesday, Quebec City, I don't think we are at all in a same type of position as our neighbors in Toronto or Vancouver. There is no need to view or consider any sort of intense measures. Yeah, right. That's how it starts. When you don't put nothing into place. When you don't, you know what I'm saying? That's how it starts. We start Mickey Mousing, keeping it on the down low. Look what happened to Vancouver. Look what happened to Washington State. Look what happened to Portland, Oregon. Look what happened to California. For the longest time, it's been being bought out under its own feet. Foreigners account for 1.4% of housing deals in Montreal last year compared to 3.2% in Toronto and 3.5% in Vancouver, according to budget documents. That's a total crock of a lie. It's a lot more than that. Because there's got to be something's got to give. So I'm going to bring in this article real quick here. It's by Douglas Todd. And you type in white people leaving Vancouver. Very important article. It needs to be addressed because a lot of people aren't addressing this. This is from the Vancouver Sun. Douglas Todd. Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver. So, if this article that I just read says only 2.3% of make up the sales, you know, it's weird. Douglas Todd, so listen to this. So if it's only, then who's buying up the homes? Definitely not the white people. So it says right here, read this. Douglas, Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver area. Aboriginals and whites are leaving Vancouver for other regions of BC, particularly to live in the Fraser Valley, Vancouver Island, and Okanagan, according to Statistics Canada. A net total of 9,345 whites and 460 Indigenous people left Vancouver for other parts of the province in the one-year period ending July 2016, according to the newly released Statistics Canada. So if only 2% make up foreign buyers in Vancouver, and all the Canadian proper is leaving Vancouver, who the hell is buying it then? Who the hell is buying a bride if everybody's leaving? So I'm one of those of the 10,000 people that left the big city because I'm not paying $2.4 million for a tear-down house. And the same house in West Palm Beach, Florida is $150,000. I'm not paying $2.4 million for a $200,000 house. I'm sorry. So this is very important that I bring up this article. I'll leave it up here if we have to refer to it. Let's head off into Greater Toronto real estate, largest drop in demand across Canada by Better Dwelling. It's from March 28th. There's a lot of pressure on prices in Canada's real estate markets, largest real estate markets. Canadian Real Estate Association numbers show that 60% of markets saw declines in sales to new listing ratios. The ratio, which is used relative measure to demand, is declining in the country's most expensive markets. Meanwhile, markets that underperform the national average are starting to see minor improvements. So here it is. Here's your Canadian sales to new listings ratio. So there's like an aggregate in there. So it's against and for. So look at this. There's Toronto. Wow, negative. So sales to say, so Ottawa's making an improvement. Montreal, Gatineau, Halifax, London, Quebec, Fraser Valley, Winnipeg, and then everything else is in the negatives. The largest declines in sales to new listings were in Greater Toronto, Hamilton, and Niagara. Greater Toronto ratio reached 49.3% and 26.2% decline from last year, the largest of any urban center. Hamilton's ratio reached 64.3%, a 21.3% decline. Niagara Falls came in third with a ratio of 68% of 19.7% decline. Worth remembering that 3 of these urban centers are in the same economic region. Look out for broader impact on these local economies. So let's look at this again, guys, one more time. So these guys are all the big losers here. Toronto, Hamilton, Niagara, Waterloo. Victoria's on, even Victoria's on this side. Vancouver's in the negative two. So for sales to new listings, it's declining. You're going to see a lot of product on the market. Almost all major Canadian cities' sellers markets, despite the talk of sales cooling nationally. If you are in Toronto, you might have overheard concerns about the real estate market crashing. However, it's actually technically balanced, in quotation, at the moment, which begs the question, if people are panicked about the balanced market, what will it be like in a correction or crash? Very good question. Very good. Very good. So people are rolling into the comments section. Sorry, guys, for the really late start. The wife's been sick, really sick. Had to take her to the hospital. And a lot going on in the housing market that we need to cover. Q1 is next week, guys. First quarter numbers for sales are going to start being unraveled. Q1 is going to be the make or break point, whether people buy into the market this summer or people wait on the sidelines for the correction. And we got FU in the comments section. And a couple other people in the comments section. Anthony's commenting saying, Mike, people are leaving San Francisco like crazy. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get to California. I did a whole entire, I think a week and a half ago, speaking about several major American cities where U-Hauls going into California, to move to California from like 500 to 1,000 miles away, you have to pay $200 for a U-Haul. So if you're coming from halfway across America, it's $200 for U-Haul. But leaving California, you got to pay $2,000-$3,000 for a U-Haul. It's the complete opposite. And U-Haul is having a really hard time getting all their stuff out of, getting their equipment out of California. I mean, getting into their equipment into California. All their equipment is leaving California. All their U-Hauls and all their trucks and all their trailers are leaving California, but they're having a really hard time for people moving into California. And U-Haul statistics don't lie. They won't make up numbers for the sake of helping homeowners and investors. So people are saying San Diego too is like, and then Anthony's saying it's like more like $4,000. U-Haul is expensive in Canada as well. No, but I'm talking about if you're leaving California, U-Haul is going to cost you a couple of grand to leave California. But if you're going into California, let's say from Arizona or Nevada or Texas, it's like $100 to go into California because everybody's leaving California. Everyone's leaving California in a panic. California hasn't seen such a mass exodus of youth, of American youth, that you could never fathom or imagine. Everyone is just milking people. It's sad. Mr. Robot's here. Mr. Roboto C. Housing prices in another city in Canada will start to rise more once more money moves out of the bubble house priced locations like Vancouver and Toronto. Well, we saw it in the first article I read where Montreal now is starting to see an uptick in foreign buyers. Okay, there's plenty of good news. So this is the bullcrap article. Guys here, Buzz News. These guys I have a feeling that these guys have no idea what the hell's going on. The last article I read about those guys in my video entitled Ontario Housing Joke, It's 3 videos back. Watch it. And it's from Buzz News. It's so bad. The article has no idea in any perspective what's going on in the housing market. So let's see what these clowns have to say here. There's plenty of good news to be had in the Canadian housing market if you look past Toronto and Vancouver. There's no doubt that tougher mortgage rules and interest rate hike took a serious bite out of the action housing market in January as national home sales fell 14.5%. But according to one economist, that number doesn't tell the whole story. Unlike Toronto, even higher priced Vancouver, housing markets in the rest of the country remain affordable and healthy, rates BMO senior economist Sal in a recent note. According to Gatineau, the worrisome national home sale numbers largely result on big sales drops in Toronto and Vancouver. Tougher mortgage rules open a deeper correction in Greater Toronto detached housing market, where prices are down moderately from a year ago, roughly 12% in the spring. But housing markets in the rest of the country should see relatively little impact to new mortgage rules. He highlights 2 markets set to perform particularly in the spring. House prices in Ottawa and Montreal have picked up and could lead the nation this year. Of course it will, because you could still buy a house for 180 grand, 200 grand. You know, in Ottawa for dirt cheap. Even Nova Scotia, you could pick up a house for under $100,000 there with land. But likely it won't be a good year. Typically hot BC market, which after having adjusted to foreign buyers tax in August 2016, had new rules imposed last month. BC will need to digest new housing measures announced by the provincial government, including an increase in the foreign buyers tax, drop 20% from 15%, and an expansion of the tax in the areas beyond Metro Vancouver, as well as speculation tax on non-resident owners. So it's gotten so bad in the Lower Mainland, and I did a video for you guys last week about this, that from the coast of Vancouver all the way to Hope, British Columbia, everybody's completely bought out of the market. Completely unaffordable. So people that drive an hour, 2 hours to get to work every day have to even move out further because they can't make ends meet. Did someone saying hello? California is not the best. Well, Walking Journey loves California. And let's move on here. Now, I wanted to bring this up because they're saying that the numbers are skewed. So on average, what's been happening is housing is the income ratio, right? So everyone's saying it's about 17 times your income, the average income, to buy a house in Vancouver and Toronto. Some people are saying it's 22 times your income. So whatever you make times 22 times, that should be the average house. So let's see what's going on here. West Vancouver's skewed house to price income ratio is 1 to 25. So they're saying to live in Vancouver or West Vancouver, analysis shows that 56% of West Van homes are worth more than $3 million. So guys, when I'm saying a $3 million home, you're probably thinking, wow, it's like this huge mansion with a helicopter pad and, this and that, and it's got horses in the back. Yeah, right. It's a typical house. Typical house. Not a plantation, not a mansion, not a manor, not a estate. It's a friggin' typical residential urban house, not even in a cul-de-sac. It's $3 million. Okay. So this is all land. See all that red there? That's $4 to $5 million in this map. And this is like single family detached home. Nothing you will ever imagine. So someone's commenting, so what the school teachers and people who don't make a lot of money do? They drive to these cities. Yes, a lot of them train in or bus in or drive in anywhere from 40 minutes to 2 hours one side. And it's gotten really bad. So it's Gotten really bad. And then goes back to this article I'm tying in. Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver. That's why 9,345 white people left the city of Vancouver. You're going to see a demographic change in the look of Western Canada. It's going to be so different that it's not like you're in Canada anymore. Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Statistics that point out higher than average percentage of high-end homes owned by non-residents in West Vancouver, and prices are far out of proportion to declared local incomes to point of some key issues, according to Simon Fraser University. Compounding the issues, West Vancouver also has the second highest percentage of homes worth more than $3 million in the region, the most skewed ratio of house values to local incomes. That's probably in North America because if you see the $3 million house, you'll look at it and say, I know a house that's selling for that, like somewhere in outside of Phoenix for $150,000. I have no idea why it's $3 million there. So the red in the map is $4 to $5 million, and then the purple, which is up here, all up here and up here, is more than $5 million. And you probably get like a 400 square foot backyard. Yeah. So, walking journey, guys, just an update for you guys. Walking journey is going to be live after my show for you guys to tune in. So don't forget to tune into the Walking Journey channel after my show. He'll be going live. I'll be checking him out later. Also, somebody's commenting, they are crappy houses, teardowns. Exactly. It's not a friggin' plantation like you think. Wow, $3 million is a huge plantation. You got orange groves. Man, you got cotton growing in the summer. You got like ceiling fans outside on the balconies. You got all these beautiful fixtures. It's a piece of crap detached thing with one car garage for $4 million. Okay, Seattle's putting some pressure on what's going on. Someone's asking, do you have access to show us listings in the area for perspective? There is MLS.ca. You can go to MLSrealtor.com. Let me see if I could find that $6 million house in Vancouver so you guys could see. So you guys can see what I'm talking about. $22 million, holy crap. $20 million, holy crap. Let me go back here. So this is West Van, the areas they're saying. $22 million. 4 beds, 4 baths, 6,000 square feet. My house is bigger than this. The house I bought for $260. 7 baths, $20 million. And then you start getting right here into regular homes now. Just like the area, you could see what I'm talking about. Like this. Just regular homes. In this description, 15 million bucks. 6 bedroom. Just your average. Like you drive down, walk down the average. Look at this, 1 car garage. 1 car garage. No garage. No garage. So you see what I'm talking about. You're not, it's not good. It's not good at all. Let me start getting into different homes here. $12 million, 3 beds. $12,800,000. 3 beds, 4 baths, 4,000 square feet. The downstairs in my house, just the downstairs, is 4,000 square feet. Just the downstairs in my house. Yeah. It's so bad. Don't make me pull up what you could buy in Florida for $1 million. Anyways, Seattle bans rent bidding in latest attempt to keep disruptive tech from compounding housing crisis. It's gotten so bad on the west coast of the United States that they have apps now that landlords are using to bid on rent. Rents have gone up as high as $3,600 US for a one-bedroom apartment. $3,600 US for a one-bedroom apartment in Seattle. Yes, take it in. Seattle bans bidding. The Seattle City Council unanimously approved a one-year moratorium on sites that allow prospective tenants to bid on rental homes on Monday. Startups like Rent-A-Berry allow landlords to list rental units so their would-be tenants can offer higher or lower prices based on what they would be willing to pay. The site takes percentage of the difference. Operators of these rental auction sites can supply demand already affect rent prices that their services just make the process more transparent. So they had to pass a law. It was getting out of control with the mass exodus of people leaving the West Coast into the interior of the United States of America. People have been bidding on one 2-bedroom apartments. Someone says, might as well take out a mortgage if you're paying $3,600 for rent. It's very hard to find a place right now in King County and outer areas there in Washington State. It's getting really hard to take out a mortgage now. If you're a foreign investor, you could get an easy, but... Okay, let's go south to Portland. Homes east of Portland, 82nd Avenue, are selling for the unheard of prices. This is today's article, people. Listen up, because the West Coast is in for a rude awakening. Home prices have increased even faster on the Outer East Side than in the city as a whole. Yep. Welcome to East Portland, home of the $300,000 house. So this was unheard of, people. The neighborhoods of East Interstate 205 and only parts of the city where the average purchase price remains less than $300,000 according to Portland Housing Bureau of data. But in the past 3 years, 2 Portland neighborhoods surrounding 82nd Avenue saw median home sales prices cross the $300,000 threshold. And 2 years ago, these houses were selling for $120,000, people. As measured by the rest of Portland, that's a bargain. After all, the median selling price for a home in the city in 2016 was $381,000. But home prices have increased even faster on the Outer East Side than in the city as a whole. The $300,000 sale price benchmark because the average Portland household can make mortgage payments for $300,000 home without spending more than 30% of their monthly income. They're lucky because most people in Canada in the more expensive cities are paying 56% of their monthly income. City compiled statistics lag behind private published data, but they give clearer picture of how home values change from year to year. So look at this, people. There's Roseway and Cully, it's up. Montovala, Park Rose, Gateway, Centennial, Glenfair Wilkes, 122nd Avenue, Pleasant Valley, Lentz and Foster. These are absurd home prices for the Portland / south side of Portland. Absurd prices. So Roseway Cully, $365,000, an increase of 39%. Montavilla, $383,000, increase of 36%. Lentz Foster, medium price $299, increase of 50%. Park Rose Argay, medium price $286, up 37%. Gateway 271, increase of 41%. 122nd Division, median price 247,750, an increase of 42%. Centennial Glenfair Wilkes, 248,000, 42%. And Pleasant Valley, median price 312,951,000, increase of 40%. So wanted to put that out there for you guys, because if you go back into my archival stories and what I've been talking about in the last 5-6 years, you'll see how the pattern and what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So Tokyo is on Tokyo guys here, Tokyo real estate man. If there's a mass exodus, why are they getting that price? Seems cheap to me. Yes, these parts of it, if you just tuned into the show, you would have known what I was talking about. These prices in America, these used to be very anywhere from the $130,000 to $145,000 mark. In the last year, they went up. Western United States, massive exodus happening right now, guys. People are heading eastward. So this is it right here. So from Vancouver all the way down to San Diego is experiencing this. Seattle, huge push east into Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. Even U-Haul statistics is saying if you're in Wyoming and wanting to move to Washington, you get a U-Haul next to nothing, but leaving Washington State, very expensive to leave, to move out. Portland experiencing this massive problem also. And then San Francisco, of course, everybody knows what's happening there with the mass exodus. San Jose, Los Angeles, and San Diego. Where else here? Other parts of California is just a huge mass exodus. Let's move on. California's house prices need to come down. Shifting control of housing decisions from local to state oversight could be a way to slow down California's housing prices. A newly proposed bill, 827, to step in that direction. Housing in California has been appreciating much more quickly than the aggregate of the U.S. for about half a century. While rising rents and home values have benefited many along the way, they have become enough to burden on young adults and families that now political movement has emerged. This movement argues that more homes must be built in order to mitigate the housing price appreciation and allow more people to live where they wish. So here it is here. There's the medium home values. California is seeing a massive jump right now. Someone saying, if there's a mass exodus, why are prices going up? Let's refer back to the first article again. This is from Douglas Todd. Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver. So a net total of 9,345 whites have left Metro Vancouver for other parts of the province. The one-year period ending July 2016, according to newly released Statistics Canada. There is a mass exodus from the West Coast. Every major city, everyone's moving into the interiors. The people that are buying it, a lot of it is foreign investing that's coming in and buying up multiple properties. And it's just pushing up prices. And California is losing so many people on a daily basis. You should put out. You guys have to see some of the videos that people put up. Go on YouTube and see what is happening with people leaving California. Just go on YouTube to just type in California mass or Washington State mass exodus or Portland, Oregon moving east. You'll see how many people are leaving the whole West Coast. So I'm going to keep bringing this up every time people ask me who's buying them. Housing. They're saying that housing in Vancouver. Foreign investment is only less than 2%. So how are these people all leaving? Who's buying the housing in Vancouver that's selling? That's the question. Let's move on here. Finance, a prize. So let's get to London, England. Very important. You guys know that London is also seeing a mass exodus of its youth moving to Middle England, and bringing up the house values there in Middle England. And a lot of companies are having a really hard time in London proper, in Sheffield and parts of the south there, and Islington and cities like that are having a really hard time finding employees and stuff because they're all moving to Middle England. The long-lasting housing boom in London seems to be finished, and the prices will start falling by the middle of the year. The Brexit and tax changes, which aims to slowing the booming property market in London and southeast England, eventually force sellers to lower bid prices. This is a result of the tax changes that have affected foreign and domestic investors, have restricted accessibility for owners, combined with uncertainty due to Brexit. I'm surprised they're not blaming Trump for this. London is among the British cities that have been the hardest hit by the fall in prices, almost doubling in the last 10 years. Except South England, the prices increase remains stable. The decline is most pronounced is expensive neighborhoods in central London and is almost twice as large in more peripheral neighborhoods. The housing prices in the British capital increased 1% on an annual basis. February, the average of 487,000 Great Britain pounds, that's 693,000 US, the weakest growth since August 2011 on annual basis. The house prices in London recorded a decline of 4.3% in February. The sales volume in British capital decreased by 17%. Across the country, house prices rose 5.2% in February. The growth in Edinburgh, Liverpool, Lancaster, Birmingham, and Manchester exceeds 7%, while Bristol, Southampton, London, the rate of price growth is among the slowest in the country. In Cambridge and Aberdeen, house prices are declining. So there's a huge going on shift in the UK. Someone's commenting again, no open lines. Yeah, it's late now. So we're gonna do open lines next Wednesday show. I had to take my wife to the hospital this evening, so we'll do open lines next week. I promise, guys. It's gonna be Q1 numbers. We'll have some people on the phone. And Steve is someone that comments on here. Steve, go back to earlier in the show where I'm talking about Portland, Oregon housing going up. It's phenomenal. Some properties have gone up 50% in the last year south of Oregon, Portland. Check it out. It's a good show. It's a good someone's saying, Mike, when will Steve Saretsky call in? I don't think he'll call in to this show. Steve Saretsky's like very professional when it comes to housing, and he's a licensed real estate agent, and he's just more by the book type thing. I usually get off topic talking about certain things and what's going on and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? So, I have to find people that want to come on the show, but people that are, that are just, that have a different perspective on things, I guess, if that was I had Form a Fist is really good. He was here. We were talking last week for about an hour and a half, talking about all kinds of different topics in the housing market and different things that are happening. So Steve the Plumber saying, was in California last week. Mass exodus happened. Mass exit. Oh, yeah. A couple articles ago, you'll see. So, guys, Dublin. Dublin's going up right now. Ireland. It's getting so bad in Dublin right now. The number of house sales rose from 15,000 2016 to 17,000 last year, increase of 16% according to new study. According to research-based analysis of property price registered, the total value transactions for the year was up 21% to 7.4 billion euros. The number of house sales rose in all but 4 Dublin's 22 postal code districts. Dublin 15 was the postal district with the largest number of sales during a year, 1,640, followed by Dublin 18, 1,029, with Dublin 24, third place with 939. The postcodes which recorded the biggest increases was Dublin 17, 88%, Dublin 24, 71%. So right now, Dublin is experiencing a huge price hike in property right now. It's gotten so bad in Dublin that several tech and other companies need to relocate outside of Dublin into the interior of Ireland, further into the interior, because they're having a hard time for employees paying first and last month's rent. Employees can't afford to move into Dublin and take the big job because they can't afford the rent. They can't afford to pay the damage deposit. So someone's commenting here, for every person that leave to AZ, it's probably Arizona, there are 2 or more illegal families come into the city. Let's move on. Edinburgh, UK's brightest property hotspot. So let's move on to Scotland. Edinburgh has been revealed as the UK's brightest property hotspot in the past year. House prices in the capital increased 10% in 2017, with the total value of the city's house stock grew by the highest amounts of any other local authority area in Britain. According to the real estate agent Civilis, the average price of a home in Edinburgh reached a record high of nearly £285,000, while the value of the housing stock across the city grew 7.5 billion from 61.4 billion in 2016 last year. A surge throughout the property market was driven by an increase in the number of new build houses being bought and sold, which increased by 30% last year. Okay. Someone's commenting here. Did see the I did for you and Formifist. No, I did not see a video. Send me a link so I can watch it. Let's move on here. New Zealand's housing stock now worth nearly $1 trillion. Oh, Christ. New Zealand's is in a hurt right now. They're throwing everything at the board, trying to find out what is happening with New Zealand. New Zealand is in a world of hurt, guys. You have no idea how bad it's down there. Kiwi land, oh my God. I feel really sorry for a lot of the people down there. New Zealand's houses are now worth a combined total of nearly $1 trillion. New data from the Property Institute and market data provider Velocity shows a big jump in residential values between 2015 and 2018. The combined stock of residential housing in New Zealand is now worth $941 billion, up $667 billion in 2015. Turananga's house jumped value more than 63% in the period, while Christchurch moved up 11.6%. There's been general consensus that the market has been flattening, but data suggests that it's more a case of moving away from Auckland and other parts of the country, said Property Institute Chief Executive Ashley Church. So look at this, guys. Holy crap. Holy crap. So that's Auckland, that's Wellington, that's Christchurch, and that's Taranga and Hamilton. Holy smokes. We don't think that the residential property as a part of the productive sector of the economy, but when you see the growth in houses values like this, a combined figure, you can appreciate that the country is now worth more and that our commonwealth as a nation has increased. But it also left a lot of people impoverished. A lot of people so everyone's commenting here. Someone's saying, I want to get the hell out of Sydney, but the real estate agent I rent from won't let me leave early. costing me 45% of my post-tax income. Sydney is hell. So someone's saying move to Hong Kong or Puerto Rico, no tax. Then Buddy comments and says, once my lease is up, I am not going to rent. I will just camp in the woods. Been renting since I was 12 years old. I'm over it. Wow. So, wow. Look at this. Auckland, medium home value, 2.4 million. Wellington, Oriental Bay, 1.9 million. Christchurch, 1.1 million. Tarananga, I can't even, 771,000. Hamilton, 930,000. Dunedin, the Cove, 681,000. Wow. And you're not looking at anything spectacular. It's just whatever. You know what I'm saying? What should housing investors do about Perth? So let's head over to Australia, where the housing crisis is out of control. Everywhere that speaks English is having this really hard time. So walking journey. Life in the city sucks. Yeah, exactly. My thoughts exactly. Investors are right to look towards recovering Perth housing market as Sydney and Melbourne's markets flatten, but headwinds still abound of the Western capital industry experts. While Perth's economic show an improvement is projected to deliver low growth as soft job market and low population growth, Property Research Group Riskwise Chief Executive Doran Pledge said. I can't read the article because they want me to pay $300 a month for this to read this newspaper. Let's move on. House price correction is coming to Sydney. After rising faster than any other Australian capital city in recent years, Sydney housing market is slowing. According to data for CoreLogic, price in Australia's largest and most expensive housing market have already fallen 1.7% this year, continuing the modest reversal that began in the final parts of 2017. Moody's and Analytics thinks there will be further declines to come, suggesting that Sydney prices will suffer a correction in the year ahead. Incomes in New South Wales have increased faster than the national average and underpin some of the recent gains in home values, Moody says, pointing at the charts below. Hey, at least someone's getting a raise somewhere. However, housing values have risen even faster and are overvalued relative to the equilibrium value. Therefore, Moody's Analytics expects a correction across New South Wales. While, as a whole, the group expects prices to fall in Sydney, it says performance will vary depending on different types of dwelling as well as geographic location. We expect house prices across Greater Sydney to fall 4.2% in 2018 after a 12.8% gain in 2017. Combined prices for house and apartment Sydney grew. So, let me tell you guys how bad it is in Sydney. It's got so bad that they had to build a specific condo in somewhere in the heart of the city for firefighters, policemen, nurses, doctors, garbage men, mailmen, because nobody could afford to live in the city. People have to bus or train or drive into work 1 hour each way just to come into work. And that's how bad it is. You know what I'm saying? So somebody is Red Pill Crypto Shark saying seems better to build new 60 kilometers out of the cities. Well, unfortunately here in the lower mainland, 60 kilometers outside of the big city is still unaffordable. It's right now reaching the 130 kilometer point here on the west coast here in Vancouver. So that's what's happening here. So someone's commenting here from Australia saying that's why people from China has already done. They rent them out to us, 60 kilometers out of Sydney, China studios for $400 to $500 a week. So let's continue here. Incomes in New South Wales have increased faster than the national average and underpin some of the recent gains in home values. Yeah, we already read that. So house prices are also tipped to fall by more than the city-wide average of the Inner West, Raid, North Sydney, and Hornsby in the year ahead. Only Central Coast and southwestern suburbs, where housing costs are more affordable compared to other parts of the city, are expected to see positive price growth year over year. So here is your graph table, New South Wales homes value forecast. So everything looks like it's in the red, going down. Apartments are expected to also slow, but not as sharply, within 0.3. So there's nothing happening, flat with apartments. And Melbourne suburbs, where it's the quickest and slowest to sell a house unit. So we're just talking outside the big city. So let's hear what's going on, just from today's date. Actually, this is from a day ahead, so I'm reading this in the future. Homes in the outer suburbs are the fastest selling in Melbourne, thanks to high demand for first home buyers, experts say. Of the 10 suburbs where houses spend the shortest time on the market last year, 7 had medians less than 600,000 threshold for the first home buyer to stamp duty concessions, according to the Dominion Group data on private sales. Rowville, in the outer east of the fastest selling suburb for houses, also had the highest median of the top 10, 856,000, still less than the Melbourne median of 903,000. Holy crap, it's so much money for a typical house. We're talking a typical house. We're not talking about you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about, you know, a massive swimming pool and a pool house. We're not talking about any of that stuff. So someone's commenting here, Crypto Shark, saying options for me are buy a crap 50 square meter apartment or build 3-bedroom further out for the same price. Yeah, dude, you know what? Build a 3-4 bedroom, man. 3-bedroom and a den, 2-bath, further out, have a bit of land. You'll thank yourself later when you get older, believe me. So anyways, people are commenting here left and right. Really good people are tuning into the late night show. Sorry about the late night start, guys. I had to take my wife to the hospital. She wasn't feeling well. So let's see what this article is saying here. Homes in the outer suburbs. Yeah, we read that. So on average, it took 22 days for a house to sell in Roanville. To sell, local Barry Platt director Anthony Johnson said many sold just after 1 day. So the market outside of the big cities in Australia are piping hot right now, from what, according to some of these articles, what they're saying. $1 million house and unit sales have soared in Melbourne. So this is $1 million house, guys. Just a standard house. It's a 1-car garage. What is it, 3-bedroom? $1.1 million. Nothing spectacular about it. There's nothing. There are more property millionaires than ever in Melbourne, with the proportion of sales worth 7 figures or more skyrocketing in recent years. New CoreLogic figures show that 28.3% of Melbourne's houses sold for $1 billion or more last year, up 23.7% from the year before, and 9.7% 5 years ago. The unit market also seen a significant rise in transactions worth more than $1 million jumping from 3.5% in 2012, a 7.2% 2016, 8.3% in 2017. Melbourne's proportion of sales excess of $1 million last year, second only to Sydney, 49.3% of houses and 22.3% for units. Wow. 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 This is incredible. Wow, this house here. Look at this house here. $52.5 million. Judging by the car, you could judge by the car parked there, how long that is. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 car lengths. 9 car lengths by 9 car lengths parked across this way. This is not a big house for $52.5 million. Holy smokes. Wow. Wow. Keep up the good work. Us slaves are too afraid to lose our jobs to speak publicly. And there seems to be a better sense of community in towns on city fringe. Yeah, I live in a small town, right? I got one guy in town that hates my guts. Like, that really hates me. But everybody else is cool, waves at everybody. Everybody is in a good mood. Everybody is in a... hey, how's it going? People coming by and talking to me at my shop all day. So that is a Reddit link I made. Reddit link for a video I made for you for Form a Fist. Let's see if I could copy this here. Let me see if I could copy this here. A Reddit link for me and Form a Fist. I hope it's nothing bad. Usage might reflect future Vancouver real estate. Okay. All right, let's play
this. This is the Tokyo real estate man here, and I'm in here in Shibuya, and I'm making a little video here, a response of, we're here, this is the Yamanote line in Shibuya, and right there you see there's the Yamanote is a circle line, and it's just going there from Shibuya now to Abison there. Okay, yeah, so this is a really, and this is the, if you didn't know what the Yamanote line is, it's a circle line, and you see it there going the other way. Now here are these other two lines, track 3 and 4 here on this bridge, okay? These had two ways. This is the Saikyo line, which will take you both ways up into Saitama in the north and into the Shonan area in the south. Now the reason I'm making this video today is other than a little look here into what urban life is like here in Shibuya. But in the little conversation that Mike Martins and Former Fist had the other day, they were talking about what happens to workers in a big city when it gets expensive. And this is what Tokyo does, at least with its bus drivers. Okay, this here is the Toei bus lot here in Shibuya, and you see these buses, all the buses down here in the parking lot, and you can maybe see there to that far building over there, you'll see there's a big garage underneath there, okay, of buses too. Okay, now what this is above, okay, the bus parking lot is the public housing for the bus drivers, okay, which is known as I guess, I don't know if you'd call it like a kaisha, which a kaisha is a company, but they call it a kaisha ryo. But this is here where the bus drivers' residence right here in Shibuya. Now, if you go all over Tokyo, there's various setups like this all over the city for the bus drivers. Yeah, so I mean, the bus driver and his family lives there in the apartments above there, okay? And yeah, they park their bus here in their home and they get up in the morning. Yeah, so that's like a regular setup here in Shibuya. The land here is really expensive, okay? And that's one of the formulas there that how people who work here, at least the bus drivers, are able to afford living here in the city. Yeah. Give you a little pan here of the main tracks here in Shibuya. I'll try to go over the fence, maybe get a better view for you right there. Looking there into Shibuya, you see there lots of towers there building right over the station there. So yeah, and if development happens here, you really have to destroy what's there and build on top of it, expand the land usage space. This is a possible version of what might happen to Vancouver in the future. And yeah, I'd like to say that I enjoy both the channels, Mike Martin's channel and Former Fist channel. I enjoy real estate, and this is a response to their recent conversation. I guess I invite anyone to follow my channel if you're interested in Tokyo real estate or investing in what have you. Tokyo Real Estate Man signing out.
Okay, really good video. Really good video, giving us an insight on what's happening when it comes to bus drivers and stuff. You see, Western living is a bit different than that. The problem is, on a Westernized society, if the wife in the family, for example, is very career driven, she's not going to want to live in one of those apartments, you know, close to where the husband works or right where the husband works. It's good, it's accommodating for a single guy or a single woman, and then they're just kind of working their careers and saving up to move into something else or move up in life to something better, right? But unfortunately, in the West, I find it really hard to see it work like that. It can, if desperate measures calls for desperate responses, right? But so people are commenting here. Yeah, that's a really good video by Tokyo Real Estate. Everyone subscribe to his channel. I'm gonna go and subscribe. I didn't know he put content up on his channel. I'll subscribe to his channel later, and if he wants to do some videos, I'll put him up on the channel here, on my channel, so I could get more views. We could spread the love. We could spread the real estate discussion from all over the world. Anyways, guys, I don't know what's good. You know, it's sad. It is sad. I'm gonna hit you guys back up with this last article because it's very concerning to the demographic future of Canada. Where is Canada headed? Why is Canada headed this way? Again, Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver. But for the longest time, that is what made up what Vancouver is. And I want to know in the comment section what you guys think about this, because this is really concerning to the future of Canada. A net total of 9,345 whites and 460 Indigenous people left Metro Vancouver for other parts of the province in a one-year period ending July 2016, according to newly released Statistics Canada data. So the other demographics groups that are tending to say goodbye to Metro Vancouver are those born in Canada and those between the ages of 55 and 65. So yeah, so Tokyo Real Estate, again, shout outs to you, buddy. Good video. I like it. Thanks for sharing that. I'll follow you on YouTube. If you have any other, maybe if you want to do some walk-alongs or walk-arounds parts there where you're at in Japan, I'd be more than happy to upload it to my channel. And then someone, so Red Pill Crypto Shark is saying in the comment section, same thing happened in Auckland, Mike. Yeah, Auckland is seeing a huge mass exodus of New Zealand proper leaving the big cities. And Anon in Sydney, I'm white and I'm done with cities. 2 months to go and I'm leaving Sydney. Same applies here. So that's what's happening. The Australian proper, The UK proper, the British proper, the Canadian proper, the American proper can't afford to live in their own cities anymore. So, like Tokyo Real Estate said to me earlier, if prices are going up on these properties, who the heck is buying them? Who is buying these properties then? If everybody's leaving, who's buying these damn properties? We could go back to the first article I read. That's only 2.4% of Vancouver is made up by foreign real estate buyers. 2.4%? Everybody's leaving. Someone's saying Uruguay is a pretty decent country in South America. Weed is also legal there for those that use it. Yeah, Uruguay is not bad. The problem is when you're dealing with Central and South American countries, I've thought of many times moving to Brazil. Portuguese is my first language. I thought of many times of moving to Brazil. But the problem is the Western governments are keeping those countries as poor dirt as possible and keeping people living in poverty as much as possible so they don't go up in value or the countries don't get rich or become profitable. You know what I'm saying? They wait for other corporations to go in and sink their nails and teeth into these countries, suck everything out, and then the Brazilian proper or Portuguese or whatever you want to call them don't have a future. And that's the problem. Brazil by 2025 will be way ahead of Canada economic-wise. But are the Western countries going to allow Brazil to move ahead of Canada in an economic position? They won't allow it. They'll get in corporations in there to suck up their wood. They'll get in corporations there to take all their gold and take whatever they can and leave nothing for the Brazilian proper. Same thing happened in Angola. Same thing happened in Mozambique, Portuguese Africa. Same thing happened in all those countries. They made sure that the population suffered, so it won't be attractive to actual smaller investors like us or people to relocate and start a new life, to make it harder for them. So we need to do what Iceland did. We need to jail all the bankers and just throw everybody in jail. I don't know if you guys know what happened in Iceland 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Someone's asking me, proper. What do you mean by proper? Canadian proper, American proper, Australian proper, New Zealand proper, basically are people that live in those countries, that pay taxes, that have probably come from all over the world to live there, and lay roots, pay into the infrastructure, send their kids to school, people that actually pay taxes into the country, people that actually contribute to the infrastructure. That's what I mean by Canadian proper. Someone that actually is in Canada to make Canada a better place. Somebody that's raising their kids to be Canadian. Someone that's raising their kids in Australia to be Australian, to learn the Australian way. Someone that's raising their kids in the UK to be British. You know what I'm saying? You know, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't even want to learn the language of the country when they come in. They're finding it to be a hindrance. So Tyson just logged into the comment section. Build the wall. Unlike the leeches. Yeah, lots of leeches that come in that use Canada instead of take advantage of the opportunities you could have in this country. But those opportunities are drying up. You know? So, I don't understand. So, we get with the mass exodus, who's buying them? I'll show you guys who's buying them. This part I don't get. Canada's saying it has 300,000 immigrants a year coming in from all over the world. I keep bringing this article up. I keep referencing this article because it's very important. Canada wants more Chinese workers, students, and tourists, immigration minister. But here's how many they want. $500,000 per year, where 97 of them 97% of the work visas, 97% of the people apply for permanent residency. From China to Canada, 500,000 per year. And opening more visa offices in China could help Canada get more Chinese workers. So, I don't understand how this will work. I don't understand how they can make this work. That's the only thing I see happening is people leaving the cities but getting replaced by wealthy immigrants. That's the only way. People coming in to build a future, coming in the 1960s and 50s with a backpack over your shoulder, $10 in your pocket, work all your life, pay off your house, your car, send your kids through school, and you know, it's tough. It's tough nowadays to come to Canada to build a future. Where now in Canada they want wealthy immigrants to come in. They don't care if people are coming in to build a future. See? So if you so this guy is saying in the article, if you ask me what is the best group of people in the world to become future Canadian citizens, and it says international Chinese students. So I don't know, guys. You know how the voids get filled. I think this is one way of them filling the void, is by bringing in people with a lot of wealth to help prop up the economy. That's what I think is happening. You know. Someone's commenting, with only 200,000 home starts per year, I guess that means they want an extra 300,000 homeless per year. Yep. That's it. So, tying in these two articles, I'm going to keep bringing these articles up to create awareness. This one here especially. I can't believe this. 9,345 whites have left Metro Vancouver for other parts of the province in 1 year. And 2015, I found the numbers, it was just under 8,000. And from 2016 to 2017 of July, it's around 14,000 whites that's left to move into the interior of British Columbia. So I don't know how they're going to balance this. I don't know how they're going to gumshoe this and tape it together. I don't know. With the amount of people that are unemployed, I don't understand how this is going to fix that problem. Anyways. Someone's saying, what about national population growth? That's been... that's gone, people. Natural population growth is gone. I'm sorry. People have been held back because the cost of living is so high. Because of this housing crisis, people have been held back from getting married, starting relationships, taking specific jobs, and having kids because they just can't afford to anymore. The cost of having children is horrendously expensive. It's so expensive to have children nowadays. It's just phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think. It's depressing to see what's going on, why this is going on, how could this be going on? See, Canadian-born population moving out of the big cities. It's sad. Why is it heading this way? I don't know. I'm following the trends to figure out there's got to be an upper end, and when you want to find what the upper end of or trying to understand what's going on, you just follow the money, and it takes you right to the doorstep of the problem. Anyways, guys, it's me, Mike Martin, signing off. Have a great Thursday, guys. I'm gonna get some sleep. It's getting late. I have to go tend to the wife and see if she's feeling well. And I'll be up next week, bright and early Wednesday. I'll try to get some trends in the housing market going for Q1 numbers. Q1 numbers are starting to come out next week for the first quarter of 2018. This is going to make or break what's going to happen in the housing industry, housing market. We're going to see what happens after Q1. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you, Tokyo Real Estate, for the video. And big hug to everybody out there watching in YouTube land. Share this video, get it out there. And good night, people.